I was gonna bring The Evil Within, which was like what we talked about there.
I really want to see that film.
I was gonna bring. There's a movie called Short Bus. Have you guys heard of this?
Sure, but yeah, what's that? I do know this.
Short Bus is this movie that like some people called America's first low rent porno, and like to call it that is like this really disingenuous take on a film that is at its core is about freedom, but on its surface is about sexual freedom. And
do you know this? There's a guy in the UK, a comedian called Des Sharples, who's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
He was in a film called Looking for Eric.
Okay.
And I'm sure he recommended this to me years ago.
It's a wonderful film, but it's certainly not for everybody.
Is it the one that has the guy sucking himself off?
It is.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's actually how it opens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware of it. I've not seen it. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, you know, how many million movies have you seen that people have sex with? It's just these people are having sex. And like one of the women was a Canadian DJ, and she almost lost her job because of it. Like there was this whole campaign to get her to keep her job. And
really?
Yeah. There was a lot of hubbub. But what was really cool was like they had the basic ideas, and then once they cast the film, the director talked to the cast, and they came up with the characters' arcs together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really, I don't know, man. It's a whole like I discovered
Is this
it.
one of the ones you were bringing over today?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
And I was like, because we talked about The Adventures of Mark Twain, but you hadn't seen it, right? So I was gonna bring that. Yeah. Anyway, I am Michael Donahue, and I'm here with.
I'm Curtis Threadgold.
And I'm Katie Dixon.
Cool.
Do you want to know about us? Is that?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the intro process. I mean, we're here to talk about a script you wrote that was in Shriekfest, but go ahead and tell us a little more about that.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm from the UK. I'm a scriptwriter. One of the finalists in Shriekfest. The script was a short script. It was an anthology. I'm very proud of it. It didn't win, but you know, I'm happy to be a finalist.
You got in though.
Yeah.
I mean, how short? And you said anthology, so how many stories?
So it was 3. 2 of them are quite twisty based, so it's probably not a good idea that I talk about that. But the one that I probably should talk about is a film called Underground, which is about a man who he wakes up and finds he's been buried alive, and he's got a tube coming out the ground that he can look through.
No.
And see the outside world from his coffin. And he's found by this little girl who just wants a pet. So instead of helping him, she decides to show up every day and look after him. And it's a little relationship movie about those two, really.
That's not creepy at all. You said short, but like, so all 3 of them together run, you would think.
They run it's probably about a 30-minute short in total.
Okay.
With the 3 stories combined.
Right on. Is there any sort of like a tie together?
Not currently. So I am thinking of developing it into a feature, writing a bunch more shorts, and considering the idea of putting a wraparound with it, or some kind of through line. But that's pretty embryonic at the moment.
Fair enough, man. That's the one you're willing to tell us about, and you said there's a lot of twists.
I mean, I can say about the other ones.
I mean, I don't like, tell me as much or as little as you'd like.
I'll tell you the whole thing. So one of them is called Feast. You know, like Big and Freaky Friday, the body swap comedies.
Yeah.
So it's like a horror take on that. So it's a woman who is pretty upset with her life. It's not gone the way she wants it. She's poor, she's frustrated, she's overworked, she's angry, and she, via this talisman that she receives, she wishes to switch places with her daughter. But the universe misinterprets her wish, and instead she swaps places with her unborn daughter. So she is now the fetus, and the fetus is now her. And it's
okay.
Much,
wow.
The rest of the world don't know what's going on, but she's trapped in her own stomach, pretty much regretting her wish.
That is very twisted, and I've definitely not heard that shit before. Talk about fucking original. Right on.
Thank you.
Well played. So, how do you see that happening visually?
So we only ever see it through an ultrascan. So it's an ultrascan of an anxious fetus basically clawing at the womb.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself just as a writer, or do you want to direct it, or?
I pretty much see myself as a writer. Yeah. So there's a guy in the UK who all 3 of these, and Katie, you work with him as well, don't you?
A little bit, yeah.
And
so what do you do?
Oh, so I've just been doing some location work on some Kids' TV programs.
And The Worst Witch with Claire Higgins from Hellraiser.
I've heard
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah, I've only done a little bit. It's really good though. I really enjoy it. I'd like to do more.
Okay, so like serious question. Like you say some location work. What does that entail? Presume correctly so that I know nothing about what you actually do.
Okay, so usually the location manager will find interesting places that fit the bill for the episodes that they're filming, and then you need some marshals to go out into that location because it'll still be operating as whatever it is. So if it's a bar, it'll still be a bar, or if it's a train station, it'll still be a train station. In this case, because it was witchy, it was a castle. So it's actually a hotel.
Okay.
Now. It's not a real castle, it was built as a folly, so some rich guy just fancied a castle, like Victorian.
I'll take one of these.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, so just built one. And so I hung out at a castle, just making sure people stayed out of shot, carrying things, driving little buggies around with stuff in the back. It's good.
Was it a location that you were just aware of and you brought it to the production? Or?
Oh no, so I'm not the manager, I'm just one of the minions of the... I'd like to get into scouting, so...
I mean, so it's sort of like a production assistant.
I spoke, well, location marshal. I guess it might be called that here.
A marshal?
Marshal, yeah, so someone that kind of like crowd control and...
Okay, no, it sounds very much like about the in America. There's the production assistant. Like I worked on a couple things where I had to guard a parking lot. I had to go fetch someone's water, and
so it's just a yes.
Yeah. Okay. So same thing. Same
yeah.
thing. Okay. All right. Good to know. Learn new things every day. Right on. Yeah, I actually got to work with John Savage and Lance Henriksen on a movie.
Oh, cool.
What was Lance Henriksen like?
You know, he was on set for like 2 days, and I was like, I never wanted to be a jerk, but I saw him having a cigarette, and I was like, nah, bro, I gotta go over. Because like I said, like I was raised very, very Catholic, and aliens scarred me in a very real way, because my first year in a public school, I'm in 7th grade, and I go to a school lock-in, and in one room, like, kids are watching, you know, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm like, I'm gonna go play Sega Genesis like a good boy. I just dated myself. And at the end of the night, they get us all in the lunchroom, and they roll on a TV, and they're like, it's bedtime. Aliens? Has everyone seen Aliens? And every head in the room goes, oh, again? And there's me at 2, 3 in the morning, mouth agape, watching Aliens. And then cut to, it was like 2008-ish? No, it was 2009 or 10. It was, yeah. And I'm working on this movie at the time. It's called Gemini Rising. And there he is fucking smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, man. I know everybody does this, but like, I work retail. Anytime somebody comes in for an Alien movie, I'm like, you need the quadrilogy. This is the best version. And he was like, thank you. And I was like, no, dude. I've even seen The Mangler too. And he drops his cigarette and looks at me and says, really? And I'm not going to get into The Mangler 2, but it's a special kind of weird. But at one point, he delivers a Spice Girls lyric. Tell me what you want, what you really want. He makes it menacing and creepy and delivers it with a straight face. I didn't even laugh. And when I described the scene in question, before I could even get to the fact that him delivering that line like blew my mind, he dropped the line. And I was like,
excellent.
I'm done here. This could not have gone any better. Thank you. I'm walking away.
The man's awesome. I take it you've seen Pumpkinhead and you love Pumpkinhead.
Yes. Don't hate me. I watched it for the first time like 3 weeks ago.
Oh really?
Right? I know. It was one of my blind spots. It was just one of my blind spots. And like I actually got to meet Stan Winston once.
Did you?
He you know the ArcLight that's around here?
Oh god, no.
Have you ever heard of the Cinerama Dome?
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard of the ArcLight.
The Cinerama Dome was its own thing. It's now part of a theater called the ArcLight. They do screenings where people involved in the film will come. My first real semester in college, I'm taking a film appreciation class, and the teacher says, so there's this place called the ArcLight, and there's screening Jurassic Park, and Stan Winston's going to be there. And all of that spoke to me because I never got to see Jurassic Park in the theaters when it first opened because my parents were certain it would terrify me. turned out they weren't wrong, because when we got it on VHS, I was disallowed from touching the VHS. They left the house. I grabbed the VHS. I put it in the VCR. I got the shoot her, and I screamed, and I put it back up, and I confessed to my parents like a good little Catholic when they came home, okay? Like, I love this fucking movie. And he was just so happy and jovial, and he's done this series called, I think it was just called Creature Features. Mm-hmm. It was a remake of 5 movies from the 50s, and he did the creature work for all of them. So I Was a Teenage Caveman, and then he did Earth versus the Spider, She Creature, The Day the Earth Stood. The Day the World Ended. I have all 5 of them. I'm blanking on the 5th. How to Make a Monster, and I had an action figure, and he signed it, and it was really cool because I waited until after the screening, and he takes my figure. He goes, "Oh, yeah, right on." And I was like, "What was your favorite one to work on?" He goes, "She Creature, absolutely." And he's autographing it. And he looks at me with this like look of, I can only say that it scared me a little bit. I didn't know what the look was. And he says, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Mike." Taking it down a notch, Mike. No eBay for you. And he personalized it. And I was like, "It's for me." Anyway, I've taken over the conversation. I did not mean to do that.
We need to come up with some like obscure British sitcoms and films and stuff to recommend.
I mean, I'm certain like most of the shit that I'm aware of it must be like AAA level for you guys. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, like Garth Marenghi, almost nobody knows over here, but it was kind. It only lasted the one series for you guys, but it was kind of a big deal.
Well, it sort of disappeared under the radar in the UK. There's a lot of people who love it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cult thing.
Yeah, it's still
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the What We Do in the Shadows show?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. I'm sure
I haven't
love
seen the film, but I have seen the show.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about this at the festival, right? Yeah, the movie is a special kind of special, and that's what like. Okay, so you have seen the film and the show?
Yeah.
How awesome was the vampire cadre? I forget what they were called. Like the tribunal. How awesome was the tribunal?
Oh, in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
I mean, because it's like,
very
so
good.
like in the show at the tribunal, like Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement are their characters from the film.
Right.
And then when fucking Paul Rubens showed up.
So obvious.
Oh, you didn't pick up? Oh, yeah.
But of course they are.
Yeah. And so Paul Rubens, the reason that his facial hair and hair situation is like that, have you guys ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie?
Nope.
Maybe a really long time ago.
Okay. He is his character from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, who has one of my favorite cinematic deaths. Because he gets staked and just goes, "Oh, you bitch! Ee-ah-ooh. Ooh-ah-ee. Is literally how his character dies. With that crazy facial hair and hair situation. And then, Danny Trejo was probably supposed to be his guy from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yep.
And like that they got Wesley Snipes in any way, shape, or form was hilarious. Like,
how did that work? Was that footage taken from somewhere, or was that?
I'm certain somebody literally Skyped him in a hotel room. That's how that worked. Yeah. After Renaissance Fair, me and a bunch of my buddies we go to this. It was an English style pub. I was introduced to something that I hate you guys for being able to get anywhere you want, called a Curly Whirly.
Curly Whirlies? Oh, no way. Yeah, Curly Whirlies.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, did you have to give us your address and we'll send you some?
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Alright.
Yeah, but like
20p or something, aren't they?
right? Oh, are you fucking kidding me? They charge my ass $2 a fucking Curly Whirly.
Holy fuck. No, they're
Not
pennies.
for a Curly Whirly.
Yeah, it's like the budget rate. So Curly Whirly is the kind of chocolate bar that when you were like a really little kid, it's one that you could afford.
I got you.
But
I just
agree.
love the flavor combination.
It's one of the best.
Isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is a good one. It was one of my.
It was cool because like one of their things was they just had like the original English versions of a bunch of our candies. For some reason we called it Milky Way. Y'all called it Mars Bar. I'm good with that.
Yeah. We just had a Milky Way before, and it's like this is familiar. It's
the same fucking thing. Yeah.
Mars Bar.
They had a bunch of like actual Cadbury chocolates, and they had like your Kit Kat.
What's the difference between a US and a UK Kit Kat?
To my tongue, there wasn't one. It's all in the
Package is
presentation.
different, yeah.
It's the package is different.
Although I do think that the Milky Way does taste different to the Mars Bar.
And there is no for sure the Milky Way and the Mars are the same concept, but
Because we have a Milky Way as well, but it's different.
really.
So that Milky Way we had before was a Mars bar? That's why I thought it tasted the same.
Well, see,
very similar to a Mars bar.
What I noticed is our nougat's a little whiter and yours is a little more. Again, I'm colorblind, grayish.
Yeah,
brown, isn't it?
maybe. Yeah, like a kind of beigey
brown.
Yeah.
brown.
Anyway,
We're
going deep on candy.
I know. It's like important, diplomatic work. There's something going out with it.
So, like, what are some of the most influential films on you as a kid? Pardon me. I mean, as a literal child.
I used to get up before school every day and watch Alien 3 for some reason.
No, like, I will defend that movie. I will. Were you watching the VHS? I assume the theatrical cut?
Oh, Christ, I've no idea what Court was watching. It must have been the theatrical cut.
Yeah, like, you gotta do yourself a favor, even if it's the DVD version, just so you can see them, the quadrilogy. Mm-hmm. Because there's
I watched them all recently. I have.
There's theatrical and extended on all four.
Mm-hmm. Matt McDonald is in the extended version of. So there's.
Do I know who that is?
It's Captain Hollister.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's in Red Dwarf.
No, I have seen Red Dwarf, but it's been a while.
So the captain in Red Dwarf, big
Like,
fat guy.
The first season?
He's in the first series.
I mean,
the
like,
second is in the
wait.
8th, and he's also in the 12th.
Wait. If we pulled up a picture, I'm great with faces,
Oh,
but
sure.
yeah, okay, no worries.
And you'll
Right.
recognise
You've
him
not seen
immediately
it for
from
a while.
Aliens as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
But yeah, Curtis really likes Red Dwarf. We have a room in our house that's just got Red Dwarf stuff in it.
That's fucking rad.
You're proud of your collection, aren't you?
I love me Red Dwarf.
I wanted to let people see it. I wanted us to have it in the garage.
Yeah. I was gonna say the computer. He's the computer, right?
No, that's Norman Lovett. That's
Okay.
no, he's the captain. There you go. That's him as the captain.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And he's in
yeah.
Aliens as well. I'm going to show you a picture of him in Aliens. He's only in one scene. There we go.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's lovely.
But then you like everyone that's ever been in it, don't you? So,
Yeah.
I know.
Like I've seen all 1 through. I guess. Wait. Yeah. 9. 9 was
So
the
Back
half
to
one.
Earth. Yeah.
Half
Yeah.
one without the laugh track.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I've seen. I know that there's a 10, 11. There's a 12 now.
Yeah.
I love that it's keeping going. That's awesome, and I love that like the UK is so cool with like HBO is the only American place I know that'll take years between like series of stuff.
Well, in the UK, there's a lot of like reviving on stuff, so it's fall. I think Red Dwarf was one of
Reboots,
like
yeah.
the
It was one of the first
earlier ones, wasn't it? Yeah. So there's loads
Good
of shit.
10 years
getting-
ago, I think, that Back to Earth thing.
Yeah, it was.
Certainly before I met you.
I have a Rimmer button. It's just his face, and
Really?
then I have the logo button. And I was one of the years I went to LA Comic Con. There was somebody who like their cosplay was just an H on their forehead.
Nice.
And I was like, fucking rad.
That was your Halloween costume when we were in New York, wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah.
My girlfriend will
Yeah.
tag along to conventions with me, and her cosplay will just be a plumb bob. Does that mean anything to you?
Be what?
You ever play that game, The Sims?
I'm
Sims.
familiar with it, but I don't know.
Right.
So it's like a life simulator,
Yeah, yeah.
and the way that you tell how your Sims are happy is there's this like little diamond thing above their head.
Yes.
It's called a plumb bob,
Oh, okay.
Right.
and its color denotes how happy, sad, hungry, pissed off they are. There's this convention out here called E3. It's the Electronics Entertainment
Yes.
Expo. Oh, you're familiar? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
One year was Sims 3 expansion something. Pets.
Oh, right, okay.
If you went to the presentation, you were gifted a one of them plastic things that you push your hair back with.
A headband.
Fair?
Hairband.
Yeah, headband. I was going to call it a headband. I'm sure there's some other word for it. Anyway, a headband with a plumb bob on it, and a dog collar with that has like a little plumb bob thing
Oh,
and the
right,
Sims
okay.
3.
Cool.
So because we got that, from that point forward, like her costume is just plumb bob.
Yeah, sorted. Nice.
Some
Quick
rando
sorted.
just came up and started speaking Simish, and their language is just nonsense words. It's is literally the language. Green light, green. Yeah. No,
I mean, like
a lot of them were great. I really like Black String.
I like Black String a lot.
Volition was really fucking cool. Max Winslow was fun. Making Monsters, or How to Make a Monster. The
Making
last one,
Monsters, yeah, that was
fucking
fun.
wonderful.
So have you heard of austerity?
Maybe go assume no. Talk.
So it's like after the 2008 crash, the government bailed out a lot of banks.
The crash. Your
Yeah,
crash.
financial crash. Yeah.
So like.
Oh, it hit the UK. Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the stock market thing here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the governments subsequent to that have been trying to restructure the UK economic system in order to be more market driven. And the justification that they've been doing for that is austerity. So they're saying we haven't got enough money to...
Wait, so austerity is an organization?
No, it's an ideology, really.
Yeah,
it's...
like austerity measures, so they cut public funded stuff because we can't afford it.
Well, we
So
can, because
it's under the guise of we can't afford that now because we have this deficit that we have to pay for. But we've always had a deficit. It's kind of how the countries work.
Okay. I tend to be mostly politically apathetic. The thing that woke me up was, like most people around my age, the current governmental situation in this country, which we're not going to get into, because I don't feel like it.
That's absolutely fine, and I can totally understand where you're coming from. But then you need to be proactive. You need to be proactive, and you need to encourage other people to be proactive.
No. Okay, see, I'm not apathetic to the point of, like, I absolutely vote. Mm-hmm. Because much like, have you guys ever seen The Holy Mountain, Alejandro Jodorowsky?
Oh, no.
Remind me to go back here in a minute.
Yeah.
If you don't vote, then shut your fucking mouth about issues.
Unless you vote for the wrong people.
No. But what I'm trying to say, even if you vote for the wrong people, you fucking voted, so you have the right to voice your opinion. If you don't vote, you have no right to have an opinion about any of it.
I have done it in the past. I've been a spoiled my ballot in the past because I genuinely. So I've been and put like across the. I don't want any of these fuckers. I've been and done that in the past. Okay. I haven't in recent years because in the UK, the Labour Party are re-embracing its socialist roots.
So who's the Boris guy on?
He's conservative. Oh, we're totally against this guy.
Oh yeah, that guy.
No, okay, wait. The Boris guy though, like he's
Boris Johnson. So he's a Conservative Party member.
So the name of the party is Conservative Party.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Also known as the Tories.
Okay.
So they're to put it in like the film narrative, they're the antagonists. They're the very bad.
I would
people.
hope, based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
I'll probably cut all of this, but maybe not all of it. So continue. Continue.
Describe. So
we're specifically a two-party. Are you a two-party, or do you have more?
So technically, there are more parties.
Well, just like here, technically there's a bajillion, and I wish everybody would get an equal voice.
But they do get seats. They do get seats, don't they? But it's
sometimes, yeah. So there's like Liberal Democrats as well as.
Let me see if I can get this right. So when I say we're essentially a two-party system, like we have more than two parties, but only two parties are represented in any real way in government. Do you have more than two?
Here's the thing. Traditionally, we have been a two-party system. A few years ago, the Liberal Democrats broke through and made it ostensibly a three-party system. However, what they did was Nick Clegg, who's the leader of the Liberal Democrats at the time, decided to ally with the Tory government, formed a coalition with them, which essentially handed power to the Tories, which then created austerity. So, to my mind, it is still wholly a two-party system because it is that. Yeah. all that happened was Tory values got perpetrated as a result of another party breaking through.
Yeah, and I guess that it would happen. It could happen with the Green Party and with Labour, or with there's always. One of these little ones could always join up with one of the two big ones.
But it's totally failing now. It's totally failing now as well. So British politics is in complete chaos. I think most people view it as around Brexit, but I think it's the undercurrent has been brewing for a while, and it's as a result of lots of mechanisms and lots of institutions are failing. There's this outcry, and the votes are going in all sorts of weird directions. Hence, I do think Brexit is a protest vote. I don't agree with it, but I do think there are lots of people that are kind of trying to say fuck you to the government, and then kind of like supporting the complete wrong people. That's what I think is happening in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's stop talking about politics.
Alright, fair dues.
Alright.
But Corbyn's a goodie. That's the last thing I'll say. Jeremy Corbyn, good man.
You say things, I'll look them up. Both of you. What was the first thing that you saw that made you go from I like film to like I think I want to do something here?
I think right from when I was a kid, I was always like someone who would always like perform to people. So I think it's been like a natural development from that. I've gone from like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then I did like stand-up, acting and stuff like that. And I think I eventually realised over the course of like a number of years that it is storytelling that I love. And I think I came to that conclusion without like one particular moment, without one particular film. It was, but as long as I can remember, I've always been drawn to film. I've always loved film. I've always loved horror. But I eventually realised it's the stories that I like, isn't it?
You are a big story guy, yeah.
Yeah, right on.
I mean, that was a complete non-story I told you there.
No, if it makes you feel any better, I have a very similar journey. Like, I mean, like, I've always loved storytelling. Like, I mean, as, you know, being raised Catholic, I had to hear a lot of stories over and over and over and over again. But, like, I've essentially been involved in theater in some way, shape, or form since preschool. The basest of grades, there's one below it if your parents choose. And my parents chose twice. And even there, I was involved in theater. There's something about a good storyteller. Like, I think one of the reasons I like podcasts as much as I do is, like, you know, they say, you know, like, you become your father. And you're like, never. And then I realized that, like, I am. Because, like, as a kid, all I want to do is listen to music. And I love music, don't get me wrong. Like, I will listen to music any fucking time I can. My dad would listen to talk radio, and I never understood it. It's because I didn't know what my talk was, and then I, you know, with podcasting, like, you can listen to a conversation about literally anything, and then you start, you know, finding your clicks. Actually, I was first introduced to podcasting in 2005 by this dude named Tim Coyne. The first like film festival thing I ever got to do was Kevin Smith. He used to do a thing called Vulgarthon, which was like 5 movies in a day that were either his or him adjacent, being like his friends or something. I was catching a smoke outside on one of the breaks, and I saw this dude walking around with like a leather purse and an old Wink Martindale mic. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Like a 1960s or 70s style, super skinny microphone bip on the top of it. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So he has one of those, and I'm like, you just walk around with a microphone? And he's like, no, it's a podcast. I'm like, what the hell is a podcast? So, like, I've been on board since, like, 2005, right? And then, but what's even crazier is, like, not like Kevin Smith, you know, podcasting, like, guru, and he started in 2008. So, like, anyway. I just love somebody who can weave a good narrative. I don't want to take over the conversation entirely, so please, you're next.
I think people for me have been more important. Like, I know you want to stay away from politics, but it ties into politics. Like,
no, go ahead.
To a certain degree, I did my undergraduate degree was in TV and video production, and at that point, I really didn't like know what I wanted to do. So we all did all sorts of things. Like, we did a bit of writing, we did a bit of camera work, we did a bit of editing, did a bit of directing, producing, whatever it was. And I was really interested in this lecturer, a guy called Dave Rice, who I'm still friends with now. And he kind of introduced me to how you can use story to like be a way of challenging ideology and be a way of communicating your own ideology. And he was very much enamoured with Freudian theory.
Okay.
But he was also really interested in Marxist.
I like Jung a little better, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, fair news. But he was also interested in Marxist theory, and that's kind of what resonated with me. It's like Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
So it was Teller. His big advice was that if you want to do a thing, don't look at a person doing a thing and want to replicate that. Look at a person from another field. So like you want to be the Stephen King of rock music. It's that sort of thing. And through meeting Dave Rice,
I like this analogy.
It's like I became kind of like enamoured with Marxist theory, and I thought you can apply that to film. And then subsequently I've come on to loving horror film, and it's like if I could be anybody, it would be the Karl Marx of horror films. Like it's a ludicrous concept, and it's something I could never possibly achieve. But it's a goal, and it's something to aspire for, and it's something that like
that's the sort of thing you can mine for the rest of your life and never achieve. You know, it's something you can grasp onto. It's something like you can love about it, and that's what I say.
Right on. Your turn.
What was the question?
Fair enough. It's been a minute.
I think the question was, what made you want to do what you do?
Essentially.
I think that the first time I heard the question, it didn't really... I don't have an answer for that question, but I do have an answer for the question. The film that I saw that made me think differently about films.
That was the question. Yeah, no. Okay.
So,
yeah.
Being John Malkovich, I think I was about 16.
Right on.
And I'd never seen a film that was anything like that before. And I didn't know that films could do that. I didn't know that films could make me feel things the way that film made me feel. So
it's good
my answer's a lot shorter than yours.
And a lot less pompous.
Nah, that's a good answer though. That's a good answer.
Yeah, and I'm gonna liken it to, you know, like when you just get the feels from something. Like there's pieces of art that you see. Like there was a piece of art.
I dropped whiskey all over myself.
Was that because of the art? You're like, oh no, not
yeah,
again.
Exactly.
No more art. We've done it.
I got the feels.
Yeah, you got the feels. Yeah, I remember seeing like a installation piece in a gallery, and it was really disorientating, and it made me feel strange, and that's kind of similar. That feeling is similar to the being John Malkovich feeling.
No, I totally get you. It's like, you know, being raised as Catholic as I was, having to go to church as often as I did, when I started checking out from all the whatever that was happening in front of me. If there's one thing that Catholics know how to do, it's use some art. And so, you know, I would look at, you know, the Stations of the Cross that's inevitably around every church. I'd look at the Flemish art that was everywhere, and it was probably one of the first. Probably the thing that made me appreciate art as much as I do was having it to look at, to check out from things that were just interesting to me. Apologies if you are too interested in religion.
No.
No. But I get what you mean about like the architecture and the art. It's like,
yeah. Say what you will about woo nonsense, but it in a very like sort of mystical way. Like I always say, I must have partied really hard in the 1920s and the 1970s, because those two periods of time are the two periods of time that like it almost doesn't matter what the story is. Like I'm involved. I'm just there. Like I will fight anybody who tries to tell me that the 70s aren't the greatest era of cinema. Like I understand there's the birth of cinema, and I understand that there's the, you know, the like 1936 that's the year that's considered one of the greatest years, and you know the 50s, but no, there's the 70s, man. Like if you talk to any person on the planet and you're like, what are your top 10 favorite movies? Almost inevitably 2 movies at least are going to be from the 70s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it's The Godfather, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Jaws, something from the 70s is going to be on this person's list.
I think you're probably right. I've got a huge soft spot for like 80s horror trash.
Okay.
But it's by no means the best cinema, and I do think
Fair.
The best cinema is it's pretty much stuff coming out of this country in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have like a similar sort of like a 70s American is a blank British?
The only like British film that I can think of that I've seen that's like, I don't know how to say, kind of like vintage in that sense.
Ealing?
I was going to say,
Hammer?
like, well...
I haven't heard of this. What is this?
Ealing comedies, so it's like the Lady Killers.
Okay.
And,
I mean, I'm familiar with that, but Ealing, is that the director?
Ealing was the studio.
Studio?
Yeah. So they churned out loads of films in the same way like that. I mean, I know more about Hammer than I do about Ealing.
I'm a Troma and Full Moon guy.
Oh, what? Sorry?
Troma and Full Moon.
Oh, okay. I've not seen that one.
Oh, okay. So Full Moon is the company that does like Puppet Master and Killjoy.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was so excited at Streakfest that Charles Band's parking space was there.
I saw that shit too. I geeked the fuck out.
A car pulled into it. I was like, fucking hell, he's here. And then someone went, can somebody move the car from Charles Band's parking space? I was gutted he wasn't there.
Right.
I was thinking about this, I think, is it this, when was Blow Up?
Blow Up? Oh shit, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's 70s.
Is it?
I think.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
Wait, hold on. I don't know as much about this as I should. Is Blow Up or Blow Out the De Palma film?
Blow Up is it's like London.
Okay, so then Blow.
Has it got something to do with Warhol? Blow Up.
No, it's unless have I got it wrong? Is it not called that?
No, it is. It's a Criterion film.
But there is Blow Up and Blow Out. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So the one that I'm thinking of is about
Exactly.
the photographer that captures something on film.
That's the Travolta one. That's the De Palma film.
Right. Okay.
And I think that
I'm not a
Yeah,
film
let's look
buff.
it up.
we were looking up the Travolta
Blow
film.
Out.
It's okay. I think
Is there an Andy Warhol one called
Blow
the
Up.
other one that's out? Or
Blow Up is 1966, so it must be Blow Out. Blow Out. 81 Travolta.
And what's Blow Up?
I'm thinking of the one from the 60s then.
Okay, so you were right about Blow. So they're the same film. That's what I'm saying. Like they're essentially the same fucking movie.
Oh really? Okay.
It's just the like yours is first, and then cut to 81, and De Palma makes the same fucking movie with John
right,
Travolta.
okay.
Right.
I see.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Who did the 60s one? Who made that?
Michelangelo Antonioni is the director, and he also wrote the story based on a Julio, pardon my whiteness, Cortázar short story called Las Babas del Diablo. Yay, internet.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, internet.
I so rarely get to hang out with people like pretty much exactly the same age as me. We are that last generation that remembers before the internet,
Yeah.
but like wasn't like it was long enough ago that we're like wholly of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And appreciate it a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Young enough to have learned about
Like I remember getting our first computer. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I remember we had a 56K modem and we were the shit.
I was really late to getting Wi-Fi. Everybody had Wi-Fi before me.
Well, I actually didn't even have a cell phone until college, so we're not even gonna go there. Why did I ask you? Was it the Holy Mountain? Why did I ask you to get me back to the Holy Mountain? Why were we there? I don't remember.
Oh, that was when we were on politics, I think. That was the...
I don't feel you have the right to complain about politics unless you vote
Yes,
about
that
them.
was it. Yeah.
I don't feel you have the right to talk positively or negatively about something unless you wholly consume it. The Holy Mountain. The first time I saw this movie, I got about 15 minutes into it, and I went, I'm gonna finish this movie so that I can tell people why I fucking hate it. Because the first time I'm watching it, I'm like, what? These are fucking random scenes. None of this shit has anything to do with anything. You are provocative specifically to be provocative and piss me off either religiously or violence or what?
Yeah.
What is this? And then the movie ends the way it ends, and I went, oh, you brilliant bastard. But I didn't know what I had just watched, and I couldn't process it. So I put it away for a long time, and then I came back to it, and I picked up on the fact that every Jodorowsky film is essentially just a metaphysical painting on celluloid. If you haven't seen it, see it, and then we'll have another conversation.
I've not seen that one, no.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I wish you would have had a
I've seen
player.
the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune,
Right?
which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
We watched that together.
His work is crazy. Like I have a box set that fetches a pretty penny online now, but fuck that, it's mine. It's his first 3 feature films, but also his first short film, which a lot of people say that like El Topo is this like weird metaphysical Western thing. It was his first film. I was like, no, his first film is this one called what the fuck was it called? Whatever, I'm not going to pull it out of my brain right now, but it's a short film about bodies swapping heads like in a shop. And it's about and it's basically like it's told through mime. It has like a 4th grade theater production type of feel to it, but that was purposeful. And it's just basically about how we're not we're not bodies with souls, we're souls with bodies is all it really is. But so all of his stuff is just you're either Lynchian on board or Lynchian adverse. So it's a very similar style. But yeah, no, the Holy Mountain, you got to check that shit out.
I will do.
Yeah.
And I take your point about you've got to like get involved in something in order to have an opinion on it in the same way like that you're talking about. I'm going to watch this film before I can criticise it. But I think voting, I know we live in increasingly polarised times, but I do think it is reasonable. I think a vote is a positive endorsement of something. And if you can't, with good conscience, positively endorse them, that doesn't mean you cannot be. And when I say something, I don't mean anything. I mean this candidate, this candidate, this candidate. If you can, with good conscience, positively endorse them, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have no opinion on politics. It just means that you disagree with what is on offer to positively vote for.
I can fuck with that argument. Yeah, I'm good with that. I appreciate that because having said what I said, like I don't particularly vote for everything, but I also don't complain about the things that I don't vote for. That's me. Yeah. But I mean, I get what you're saying though, because like if people who voted for argument's sake, we're gonna say they voted for Bernie Sanders specifically so they didn't have to vote for a Donald Trump or whatever.
Yeah.
Saying that you voted for him to be against the other guy. Well, do you agree with that guy, or are you just trying to spite? And if you're just trying to spite, then that's not a reason. That's not a reason that should matter, because you need to be able to get behind who it is you're getting behind. Anyway. Fuck it, you ask me something.
What is your favourite horror film?
See, that's not fair. But I think based on the conversation we've had, you'll get, like, when I say, like, having a favorite anything is almost impossible for me.
We had an awesome conversation about, like, weird horror films that you was asking people.
I just like asking people that question. And then a couple people told me that, like, I had one dude, he jammed me up in the bathroom. He was like, I haven't stopped thinking about that question. And I'm like, can we pee before we talk about this? So, like, it's mood dependent. And horror and comedy, and to a lesser extent action, are all dependent on your ability to lose yourself into a situation.
Yes.
I'm pretty comfortable saying that right now my favorite horror film is The Witch.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
And it's got a lot to do with a lot. Like I said, I work at a Renaissance fair. Like Elizabethan English is something my ear is fine with. Mm-hmm. The whole film's in Elizabethan. Costumery is like period perfect. Period perfect. At one point they're hunting with a matchlock musket. When I'm at the Renaissance fair, I'm in the company of shot. I use a matchlock musket.
Really?
It's the only gun I've ever fired. At the beginning of the film, they're kicked out of their little town for being too religious. I wasn't kicked out of my town for being too religious, but as I said, I was raised very, very Catholic. Yeah. The 70s is the greatest era of film. That film is in love with the 70s. From its presentation, from its shot composition, to its color palette, to its Kubrickian, what's going on over here? Why is her titty being eaten by a crow? You know what I mean? That movie just fucking worked on me. And people who say that it's not a horror movie, I'm not mad at that, because it's a family drama about the power of lies.
Yes.
But it's also a horror film.
Yes. Awesome.
I'm gonna have to go with The Witch.
Yeah, good choice.
You got one?
Yeah, it's The Thing. I think
I'm very okay with that.
It's
doesn't get better.
A perfect film. I wouldn't change a frame. I think everything about that film is brilliant.
Okay, what did you think of The Thing prequel?
I actually quite like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, calling it like a not remake? No, it's a prequel, but it's a fucking remake.
It's a remake.
And have you seen the shit that because that film was supposed to be entirely practical as well?
Yes.
Have you seen that footage that the company threw up?
Yeah, I've seen some stuff.
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
I would really like them to release the original practical effect version of the film.
Exactly.
I'm still quite cool with what it is.
No, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it thoroughly, yeah. I mean, like, it gets a little, like, summer blockbustery, but what's up?
Just this guy in The Thing, he proper loves The Thing. I mean, like, he loves The Thing.
Have you seen It Chapter 2?
I've not seen Chapter 2 yet, no. I really like Chapter 1, though.
But because of Shriekfest, I got to go to the world premiere of both.
Oh, they hosted it, didn't they? Yeah.
She got us in. She got us into the... Yeah. Okay, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but the Thing is Lovecraftian in its creature design. Mm-hmm. You can't get better than the practical effect of the head in the Thing.
Yes. I 100% agree.
But if that's a 10... There's a similar thing in Chapter 2 that's a fucking 9.
There's some homage to The Thing in it, I think, is it?
This is what if it's an actual homage, then that's what I'm talking about.
Right,
if The Thing is a 10, this fucking thing is a 9.
Right, okay.
Like, you gotta go right when you get back. Or if you're not doing anything tomorrow, go before you leave. Yeah, right on. You got a favorite horror film?
I'm not like a massive horror fan. What do you think my favourite horror film is? Do I like any horror films?
Night of the Demon?
I did enjoy that.
I am familiar. I have not seen it.
Curse of the Demon, it's called in the US.
I'm big on context. Tell me more.
Yeah, Joseph Cotton, he is a scientist sent to debunk a spiritualist.
Okay.
And he gets passed a note that says you are going to die at a certain time. It's like a precursor to The Ring, really.
Spider Baby. Does that count?
Spider Baby.
I've heard of this.
Oh, you gotta watch it. It's so good.
Lon Chaney Jr.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've definitely heard of this. I know.
Like
I know it's a
family kind of thing. It's got Sid Haig in it, who died very recently.
Oh mate, yeah, you've totally got to watch Spider Baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that then.
I've seen images and gifs of Sid Haig in this, I think.
So yeah. So
is this the one where he's eating dinner?
Or is there is a dinner scene.
Okay, yeah. So that's the Sid Haig I've seen in it. Yeah.
Or maybe Eraserhead. Does that count as a horror film?
Yes.
I think so. I didn't know what to make of that movie.
Pretty fucking scary.
And actually, one of the first times my girlfriend and I hung out, she gave me a copy of Eraserhead and we watched it. And I was real early on in my I don't know what I'm watching. I get that a lot of people love it and I appreciate the hell out of it, but what is this? And then I talked to a friend who went to a screening where he was present and talked about it, and she said one thing that made the entire movie make sense to me, because I was like, I don't know what any of this, does any of this mean anything, or am I just supposed to feel weird about it, or what is it? The whole film was his take on being afraid of having a daughter, and then I ran through everything and I went, oh yeah.
It's grim, man.
Yeah.
Me and Katie bonded over a horror film, and it is a horror film.
Oh yeah.
So we met online dating.
Me and my lady too.
And we were chatting, and we ended up talking about Threads. Do you know Threads?
I want to say I've heard of this and I've seen stuff, but I haven't seen it. What is this?
It's a 1980s BBC produced TV. It's part faux documentary, part drama, and it's about a nuclear bomb dropping on Sheffield.
Okay.
And it is about how relentlessly horrible and bleak it becomes over the years. So it starts with quite a bleak Sheffield set drama about a couple that have either just been married or soon to get married.
Just pregnant, I think that's the they're like a young couple. I don't think they're married, and she finds out that she's pregnant, and then the bomb drops.
And it is bleak. And
it's
then
the worst thing ever. I watched this while I was on holiday in a caravan, in a trailer in Wales, and my friends were asleep, and I watched it on my own. And after it finished, I just went outside and I just looked at the sky for maybe about half an hour, and then I went inside and I ate a lot of cake and I went to sleep, and I was still thinking about it the next day when I was making a drink in the morning, stirring the cup, just thinking, holy shit.
Right on.
Holy shit.
And who'd have thought that film would lead to us
And
getting together?
we got together because of it.
I had a similar experience.
I don't remember where my lady and I met, but it was I was on a bunch of different film boards at the time. We pretty quickly exchanged emails, and then decided the first time we were going to meet in person was Zombieland opening day at the Man's Chinese. And
that sounds good.
Cut to, they said they were going to release the sequel on its 10th anniversary, and of course they're releasing it 2 weeks from now. But we're still gonna go and see it. But it was that movie was special for a lot of. You've seen Zombieland?
Yeah. I haven't, but I haven't seen anything.
I'm a big Charlie Chaplin fan, and before the movie, I'm walking the boulevard, and there's one of those dudes in costume as Charlie Chaplin, and he was so good that I was fine paying him $2 for a picture, and then I'm sitting in the Chinese next to this awesome lady, and all of a sudden they roll up to the Chinese and a Charlie Chaplin zombie rolls up, and I'm turning around trying to check that we're all still good. Yeah, good times. Horror fucking rocks.
I completely agree.
Alright. I gotta make sure I get home.
It's been a pleasure, man.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. Like I said, we definitely got to do it again real soon.
Love to.
And you send your address and we'll send you curly willies.
Oh,
Yeah, you got some curly willies.
That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen.